I remember when AI coding assistants became a big deal. Then everyone started saying you could just use it to vibe code. Talk to it and it would spit out perfect code. Every time you try it though, it's really unreliable. You get something that kind of works, but it's not in the style of the project. Or it uses a library you're trying to avoid. You end up spending more time correcting the AI than it would have taken you to just write the code. The solution is actually not hard. For AI, context is king. An AI's performance is tied to what it has access to. If it can parse more text, it can keep it in the context when seeing new content. But giving it context manually in every single prompt is really tedious, and worse, inconsistent. You end up typing it differently each time. You forget a crucial detail, and the AI gives you a completely different output. It can be like dealing with a developer with severe short-term memory loss. An AI's context window in a single chat is limited. Once your conversation gets long enough, it starts forgetting the instructions you gave it at the beginning. Now, imagine when you're writing code and you want to do the same thing over and over. You write a function, right? We need the equivalent of a function for AI. That's where agents come in, or GPTs, or gems, or whatever your platform calls them. No, I'm not talking about agentic AI that wants to take over the entire task, but a simple configurable AI persona that you can reuse. Think of it like onboarding a new team member. You wouldn't just sit them down and talk at them for 2 hours, expecting them to answer correctly without any context. You would give them an onboarding package or plan to get them started. That's exactly what we're going to build for our AI agent. We can create an agent that understands how we like to code, what we're trying to code, and why we're coding it. For this, we need different documents. These will be our functions. We need something like a coding preferences document, a project guidelines document, and a user and aspirations document. Now, before you rush into it, there's a reason for having multiple documents. You could create different agents for different tasks. An engineer agent might only need to see the coding preferences and project guidelines, while a UI or UX agent would focus on the user persona and overall project goals document. If you dump all the information into a single document, you lose that flexibility. Let's see how we can get started with these documents. The coding preferences document. This document is your single source of truth for programming choices. It tells the AI how to generate and interpret code according to your standards. Don't just say you have preferences, but list them out with examples, like what naming conventions the AI should use, the comment style, how to handle errors, language-specific preferences, and other things. The project guidelines document. This is the architectural blueprint of the project. It covers the overall goals and specific rules of the project. This document stops the AI from suggesting a library you banned 3 months ago, for example. The audience and aspirations document. This document provides the why. Because we could build a feature that works technically, but is completely wrong for the user. So this context will help the AI make better design and technical choices when answering. Once you have your documents, you need to tell the agent how to use them. Most agent creation tools have an instruction box. It's like a prompt for how the agent will act. You could write anything here, but you can remember these 4 points: persona, task, context, and format. The persona would be something like, you're an expert Python developer with 10 years of experience specializing in clean architecture. The task would be, focus on refactoring the user's provided code. You must not add any new functionality. Context, your refactoring must strictly adhere to the rules defined in the attached project guidelines and coding preferences documents. Always prioritize any instructions given in the documents. And finally, for the format, something like, your response must contain only the refactored code block, followed by a bulleted list of the 3 most significant changes you made and why. All of this will force the AI to behave more predictably. It prevents generic, random responses and ensures the output we get is more usable. With this, you can have a much easier time when talking to chatbots for guidance, suggestions, or just pure vibes. But perhaps the most important rule of being smarter with AI is knowing when to give up. What do I mean by that? Sometimes, no matter how good your setup is, the conversation can go off track. The AI gets stuck on a wrong idea, and trying to correct it is like arguing with a wall. There's still a chance it can ignore your direction or provide code that's completely irrelevant to the context documents. And this is where you need to learn the most important skill: knowing when to start a new chat. Don't fall into the trap of trying to fix a broken conversation. It's a waste of time. Your context documents are your safety net. Just hit the new chat button and go again. The agent will reread its core instructions and the attached documents, giving you a completely fresh start but with all the necessary context. But you don't have to stop here. Your first draft of each document is only the beginning. To improve this flow, you need a feedback loop. If the AI repeatedly makes the same kind of error, it's a sign that one of your context documents is lacking something. In that case, updating the source document is the best way to make sure the future responses will get better. Finally, try to have fun and experiment with different documents and agents. Imagine a code reviewer agent. It could know all your guidelines and preferences and identify things that are wrong with your code, like incorrect variable naming, functions that are too long, or a missed opportunity to use a project-specific helper function. It's like having a teammate who has memorized the entire style guide and is always available to give your code a quick check before you commit. Or what about a how-to or suggestions agent? We all have those moments where we know what we want to do, but can benefit from having a full view of what's available to achieve it. Instead of going through your documents yourself, you could just ask your agent. Since it has that context, it can give you suggestions that are actually relevant to your project. It won't just give you a generic answer from the internet. It will give you an answer that looks and feels like it belongs in your project. Maybe even pointing you to a similar implementation you already wrote 2 months ago. Or how about a code translation agent? This one can be a lifesaver if you're working with a new language you're less familiar with. You could have specific documents that explain to the AI how they should deal with the translation, so you don't have to keep all of that in mind every single time. The AI then becomes your professional translator. It's not just doing a simple conversion of code from one language to another. It's following the rules and guidelines to give a final output we're happy with. And that's it. I hope you found this helpful, and see you later.